Ladies and gentlemen, great to see you today. Thank you for joining us. And welcome to this, the very special Wendy Wooter's Solo Travellers Show. It's going to be an exciting one this today. Lots coming up today. We are going to be going off to Japan, so I hope you've got your bags packed and ready, because we're going to be whisking you off to Japan on Wendy Wooter's flagship Japan tour, Japan Uncovered, to see and experience Japan as a solo traveller, which is going to be great. Plus, I'm going to be speaking to Kate Rowe, Head of Reservations and Operations at Wendy Wooter's, to find out what it's like travelling as a solo traveller on a Wendy Wooter's. Plus, I'm going to be speaking to two of Wendy Wooter's special VIP solo travellers, again to find out exactly what goes on when you're travelling solo with Wendy Wooter's. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please stay around till the end of the show. There's going to be lots coming up in this first part, but at the end of the show, we'll be opening up our travel lounge. Now, this is your opportunity to meet the experts at Wendy Wooter's, to ask all the questions that you've ever wanted to ask on travelling solo or on escorted touring with Wendy Wooter's. That's a unique opportunity for you to ask all the questions that you want to ask. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined now by Kate Rowe, Head of Operations and Reservations here at Wendy Wooter's. Kate, great to see you today on this, our special Solos Travel Show.
It's good to be here, thanks Andy.
Wonderful, really good. Kate, solo travel is surging. Ladies and gentlemen, it is really on the rise. In fact, Google searches for solo travel have quadrupled over the last 3 years, which is amazing. And according to recent research, 1 in 3 travellers prefer going it alone. And yes, solo travel doesn't always mean single either. Now, Kate, you and the team here, you manage all the calls and the travel arrangements. I know it's very busy, calls are coming through, which is great. Are you seeing an increase now in solo travellers, and who exactly is travelling solo?
Absolutely, Andy. We are seeing an increase in solo travellers, and that started during the pandemic. That was when we really started to see that the inquiries coming in were coming often from people who were choosing to travel on their own, and that's just continued ever since. So ever since borders opened and our tours have started operating, we've been seeing that about 30% of all of our bookings are people choosing to travel alone. And people have all sorts of different reasons for travelling alone. Yes, there are people that have always travelled alone, but we're also seeing people who've travelled in the past with a friend or a partner or a family member. And I think during the pandemic, when people couldn't travel, it really made them realise that once borders were open, they needed to seize that moment. So rather than waiting for that perfect moment where their partner is available to travel with them, or their friend or their daughter is available to travel with them, and perhaps that never ever ends up being arranged, people are just seizing the moment and they're just deciding, you know, borders are open, the world is open, I want to travel while I can, and so they are just seizing the day and booking to travel by themselves. And you know, there's a lot of people as well, Andy, who their partner doesn't want to travel on the same kind of holiday as they do. Perhaps they want to get out and explore Japan, but their partner is more interested in a relaxing beach holiday. I think, again, particularly post-pandemic, people are more honest about how they want to spend their precious holidays, and people are more open to just saying, right, well, if we don't want to do the same thing, then let's both go and do our own thing and make the most of the holidays that we've got.
That's fantastic. So yes, seize the day, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Kate, the tours with Wendy Wooter's, they are all fully inclusive. So we want to know what exactly does that mean for solo travellers, Kate, and what can a solo traveller expect from travelling on a regular Wendy Wooter's tour?
You're right, all of our tours are fully inclusive, so that means that we take care of all of the arrangements. That includes your international flight, your visa if you need one for your destination, all of your accommodation, all of your touring all your transport on tour, but all your activities as well, and crucially all of your meals. So I think when you are travelling as a solo traveller, it's really nice to not have to worry about any of those things, to know that we've already done the research, we've found the best places to go, the best places to eat, and all you have to do is turn up at the airport. So if you're travelling on your own and you're joining one of our tours, you're going to be joining a group, and you've essentially got a ready-made group of friends, travel companions, and it's those people that you're going to be able to form bonds with, make friendships with, make memories with. And throughout your tour, you've got that group of people that you'll be eating with, that you'll be doing the experiences with, so that you really don't have to worry, everything's taken care of for you. I think one of the other things that's really special about our tours is the unique experiences that we include. So on all of our tours, as well as the must-see destinations, we really do go out of our way to include extra experiences. It might be a cookery class, it might be trying an arts activity, or trying an ancient tradition. And if you're travelling on your own, those kinds of experiences are really hard to seek out, whereas to be on a tour and be able to turn up and join in with those things with this group of friends that you're getting to know makes that tour extra special.
So Kate, Wendy Routeurs have a fantastic track record of organising the best touring experiences on the planet. The #1 specialist tour operator to Japan and China in the UK, Australia and New Zealand. Plus of course, multi-award winning, having won the prestigious Travel Globe Awards, which are the Oscars, ladies and gentlemen, of the travel industry. Best long-haul specialist operator for 13 consecutive years. That's marvellous. And this year marking the 25 years of Wendy Routeurs as the leaders in escorted touring. So Kate, why is that experience and reputation just so important for solo travellers?
I think for all of our customers, our reputation and the awards that we've won show that we really do know what we're doing. You know, we've been doing this for a long time. We've continued to improve our itineraries. We've continued to act on customer feedback and make our tours the best they can possibly be. And that gives all of our customers peace of mind. They know that they're in safe hands. I think that can be particularly important to customers travelling on their own. You know, some customers understandably will be feeling a little bit nervous about going off on their tour, particularly if it's the first time that they have travelled on their own. So to know that they're in safe hands, to know that they really are travelling with a company that cares and, you know, offers a very high level of service is fantastic peace of mind. It's also great if you are leaving a partner or a family member at home who's worried that you're going to the other side of the world to explore a new destination. It's great for them to know that you're in safe hands and that we're there to take care of you every step of the way.
I've loved every minute of it. I decided I was going to see the world, and this is the place to see. If you go on one of these tours, you make some great friends.
Since the beginning of the tour to now, it's been absolutely fantastic, well organised. The itinerary has just been excellent. Couldn't have asked for more. And everyone on the group has got on so well. We really gelled together and it was fantastic. And Ken, the guide, has been amazing.
We've had great hotels, a wonderful guide with Ken. It's a really good group. I'm a solo traveller and I usually look for solo travel specialists, but I got in with this group and we've meshed really nicely. We've had a wonderful time. The food has been tremendous and I've enjoyed every minute. Everything has been thought of, everything has been considered. We've not had to think. For 9 days, all we've had to do is be where we're told to be at a certain time. And then we're taken away and shown the most wonderful thing.
Yeah, totally brilliant. We've delivered more than my expectations. Ken, our national tour guide, nothing has been too much trouble for him. So well organised by Wendy Wu. Brilliant tour, thoroughly recommended.
So Kate, I know that there are a few different options when it comes to travelling solo with Wendy Wu Tours. You can travel on a solo exclusive holiday, or I believe you can travel solo on a regular Wendy Wu Tours holiday as well. So what's the difference between these two options?
Right, so we do have dedicated solo departures, and you'll be able to see those on our website and also in our brochure, and they're clearly marked as solo departures. And so on those tours, Andy, everybody joining that tour will be travelling solo. Everybody on that tour will have their own private room, and also because we know that it is a solo departure, there's a few slight tweaks to the itinerary. So for example, everybody will get an airport lounge so that they can really start their trip in style, and we also arrange a welcome drink reception when you first arrive in destination, so give everybody a bit of a chance to have a drink and get to know each other. We also have the option for anybody, including solos, to book on our normal group tours. And so if you book on our normal group tours as a solo passenger, you'll be travelling with a mix of people. There's likely to be other solos, there's likely to be some couples, maybe some friends travelling together, some families travelling together, and you'll all be on the same group. So it's just a different dynamic, and some customers prefer the dedicated solo group, and some customers prefer the dynamic of having a complete mix on their tour. There's a third option as well, which is just to point out that when you book on one of our normal group departures as a solo, you can let us know at the time of booking that you're willing to share. And if you're willing to share, what we'll do is we'll keep a record of that, and if somebody else also books on that same tour departure who's also willing to share, two people of the same gender, then we will match those people together to share a room throughout the tour. You'll need to pay our single supplement, but if we match you with somebody else who's willing to share, we'll be able to refund that single supplement to you before you leave.
So Kate, let's talk about group sizes. I know, ladies and gentlemen, we're really keen to find out more about this. What size are the groups on the groups tours? Now, are they the same size, are the groups the same size on a solo exclusive tour as indeed they are on a regular tour?
So on our regular group tours, Andy, the group size is a maximum of 28 people. And so, as I said, that will be a mix within that 28 of some solos, some friends, some partners. And what we actually find is on average, the group size is 21 on those tours. And we find our group size on our normal group tours is a really nice mix. It's enough people to find friends, be able to find someone that you've got something in common with and connect with, but it's not too big. It's not a huge coach group. On our solo departures, we do cap the group size, so you would be in a smaller group. The dedicated solo departures have a maximum group size of 18. And we find that when it's a dedicated solo group, it's nicer to travel in a slightly smaller group. It just creates a slightly more intimate group, and again, a nice environment for people to make connections and get to know each other.
Kate, what about dining on tour? Ladies and gentlemen, just like myself, when you're on holiday, eating and drinking is so important. It's something that we all really look forward to doing. But hey Kate, if we're travelling solo, are we going to be left to our own devices to find our own restaurants?
Not at all, Andy. So our tours are fully inclusive, and that includes all your meals while you're on tour. So that means that all of your breakfasts, all of your lunches and all of your dinners are included, and that's actually quite unique. A lot of tour operators don't include all the meals, and we choose to do that at Wendy Wu Tours, and it's something that our customers really love. we have spent a lot of time seeking out the best places to go for dinner. So we're not just eating at the hotels where we're staying in, we're actually going out to a mixture of restaurants, and sometimes family run local restaurants, sometimes restaurants that have a particularly special view, or might be a particular place to try a regional speciality. So we really have picked out the best restaurants to give you a really good range of food throughout your tour. The meals we find are a really important part of the day for our groups. It's a chance for them to sit down, talk about the day, share their photos around the table that they've taken that day, and really reflect on the memories from that day. So if you are travelling solo, you don't need to worry about finding a restaurant, but you also don't need to worry about, you know, what can be quite awkward sometimes for some of us, sitting down on your own in a restaurant and eating. You haven't got that to worry about. You'll be with your group, and really important, you'll also be with your guide. We haven't talked much yet about the guides today, Andy, but remember that throughout your tour you've got one of our national escorts travelling with you. They really are the stars of the show, and at the meal, but also throughout the day, they're going to be able to make your tour extra special by helping you understand the culture of the destination that you're travelling in, pointing out regional specialities, food that, you know, their favourite foods and drinks, things that they really think that you should try, and sitting down to eat with your guide as well as with your group at the end of the day is a really special time to reflect on the day you've had and find out a bit more about the day ahead and find out a bit more about the food that you're eating.
So Kate, ladies and gentlemen out there's going to be people that are new to travelling solo, that have been sitting there thinking, I would really like to do this, but I'm just not quite sure yet. If you're feeling a bit nervous, Kate, what would you say to our viewers today? What are your top tips?
First of all, I'd reassure them that they really are in safe hands. Not only have we been operating our tours for 25 years, but we also do make bookings, as I say, for lots of people who are in that same situation. So, as I said earlier, about a third of the people that are making bookings with us at the moment are booking to travel on their own. So you're certainly not alone, and you're certainly in safe hands. My top tips would be get hold of the brochures. So if you haven't already got our Wendy Woo Tours brochures, order them. Sit down with a nice brew or a glass of wine and get flicking through and get some inspiration. One of the best things about travelling on your own is that you don't have to compromise or fit in with what other people want to do. So you don't need to find a date that works for you and your friend, or a destination that everybody wants to go to. You really can just look through the brochures and see what's on your bucket list, what do you want to do, just think about yourself and book the trip that you want to do, and that's a really, really nice place to be in. So yeah, get the brochures, pick your destination, and then give us a call, and the team in reservations will be able to answer all of your questions and then help you make your booking.
Now Kate, the whole world is open for travel again now, which is just fantastic. Japan, I know for Wendy Woo Tours, is proving to be extremely popular for solo travellers, as indeed is Vietnam, Central Asia, and of course Europe as well. But the burning question, Kate, China. China's still missing. What about China? When are we, as budding solo travellers, going to be able to get back to China?
Well, Andy, there's some great signs. You know, China is now open for business travellers, and it's also open for friends and family to fly in and visit. So some really good steps in the right direction. We're seeing more and more airlines starting to sort out their timetables and their schedules for later this year. So we are seeing those flights start to appear in the systems to be booked, which is a great sign. And we're just waiting for the announcement of when the tourist visas will be able to be processed. And as soon as those visas are available, as you can imagine, Wendy and the whole team here are keen to make sure that we're the first people back into China. So we're working really closely at the moment with our team who are in China. They are making lots of checks on the hotels, the restaurants, all the different parts of the itinerary to make sure that everything's ready to go. And they're really, really looking forward to being able to welcome our first groups back to China.
Fantastic, Kate. Thank you. So exciting. So much to come. We can't wait. Kate, thank you so much for your time today. It really has been fantastic.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you.
Been very fortunate that I've had 2 long tours already with Wendy Wu, 4 weeks in China and 4 weeks in South America, both on my own, and they were absolutely fantastic, to the extent that I almost don't want to travel with any other company now, because I just feel everything is so well organised, from the initial booking to getting safely back to England. The guides are superb. The range of activity suits me perfectly. So there's some history, some geography, quite a lot about the culture of the area, the opportunity to try things, whether it's dance, music, cooking. Every day brings a new delight, really. And I do feel so well looked after. If there's any sort of problem, like in the run-up to this trip, I was worried about COVID and what would happen if I tested positive, what would happen if I had to isolate. And the logistics department answered all my queries immediately and was so reassuring and made me feel confident that people would help me every inch of the way. And that has been the case, actually. It's been marvellous to be so well looked after. I love that the meals are included, so I don't need to start wandering around at night on my own trying to find somewhere for dinner in a strange area. I love it that all the entries are included, so there's not this big debate about should I, shan't I, how much is it going to cost, how much money do I need to take with me. I've hardly spent anything, to be honest, just incidental expenditure. So I think the value for money, which is not my main priority, but it is also extremely good.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, yes, it's time. Get those bags, get those cases ready, because we are off to Japan. Yes, we're flying off to Japan now on Wendy Wu Tour's flagship Japan tour, Japan Uncovered. And here to tell you all about it is Lee, head of marketing at Wendy Wu Tours, who was actually out in Japan on this very same tour as a solo traveller in September last year.
Thank you, Andy, and hello everyone. My name's Lee Holden and I'm the head of marketing at Wendy Wu Tours. So Andy and Kate have talked to you about the general appeal of travelling solo with Wendy Wu Tours. But what does that actually mean in terms of your day-to-day experience? I'd like to show you using one of our most popular tours as an example, which coincidentally is also one I recently joined myself as a solo traveller. Japan Uncovered is one of our most extensive tours of Japan, and it includes all of the iconic attractions and key cultural activities. Featuring modern cities, historic sites, beautiful landscapes, this tour ensures you get the most out of your trip to this fascinating country. You can really get an understanding of the history and the culture of this incredible destination, making this a hot ticket for travel at Wendy Wu Tours. Like all of our tours, this one is absolutely packed with those fun, immersive experiences that make travelling solo with us so sociable. For example, you'll try your hand at the age-old practice of washi paper making. You'll try some really unusual culinary combinations at a wasabi farm. Join a traditional tea ceremony in Kyoto. Enjoy a relaxing soak in a traditional onsen hot spring. You'll even get to roar on sumo wrestlers when the grand tournaments are in town. All great fun and guaranteed to break the ice with your fellow travellers. You're accompanied throughout your tour by one of our award-winning national escorts. Their unparalleled knowledge, enthusiasm and attention to the very tiniest detail really does make the holiday truly memorable. Our guide, Sakano, was so thoughtful, taking care of everyone and filling every moment with personal touches that really helped us to get to know the culture of Japan. Kate mentioned the sociable aspect of dining on our tours, and Japan is a perfect example. Japanese cuisine is delicious and so beautifully prepared. And for lunch and dinner, we invariably ate at local restaurants with the locals, and we enjoyed some fabulous food in great locations. In Osaka, we tried the local speciality of okonomiyaki in a cute small place with an open kitchen. Up in the Japanese Alps, we ate shabu-shabu beef at a lovely traditional restaurant in Shirakawa-go by the riverside. We ate miso pork stew in a miso factory, and we even tucked into delicious chanko nobe in Tokyo. This is a staple diet of sumo wrestlers, and we ate it in a lovely restaurant complete with photos of past grandmasters, sumo art, and even a full-size reconstruction of a doyo. Tasty and great fun. So what of the tour itself? Well, you'll fly into Osaka, where you'll spend your first 2 nights. The city has a spectacular castle and is also known for having some of the best food in all of Japan. We'll try the famous savoury pancakes, okonomiyaki, and have the chance to sample the delicious street food too. From here, we also take a day trip to Nara. The historic capital of Japan, Nara boasts impressive temples and beautiful gardens. And we also get to meet the famous tame deer in Nara Park, who will bow in return for a cracker. We visit the magnificent Himeji Castle en route to Hiroshima. Built in the 17th century, it's widely considered as one of the finest castles in Japan, and is both a national and a World Heritage listed treasure. Hiroshima itself is also a real highlight. Today, a vibrant and forward-looking city, Hiroshima is best known, of course, as the first city in the world to feel the power of the atomic bomb. And the museum and the Peace Park Memorial are very moving. You'll also spend a lovely afternoon riding the ferry over to Miyajima Island with its famous floating torii gate and shrines. From here, we'll take the famous bullet train to Kyoto. And of course, on your Wendy Wu tour, everything's taken care of for you, so you don't have to worry about anything, your tickets or where your luggage is, as it's all transported for you, and all you need to do is enjoy the experience with the other passengers on board the train. The journey is as smooth as silk, the trains are incredible, and yes, they do leave and arrive absolutely on schedule to the second. Kyoto was the capital of Japan for over 1,000 years, and the locals are justly proud of their cultural heritage. It's the best place in all of Japan to experience some of those traditional temples and shrines, including a visit to the famous Kinkaku Temple, known as the Golden Pavilion. You'll see geishas wandering amongst the narrow lanes, experience a traditional tea ceremony with a tea master, and you'll also have the chance to pick up some wonderful souvenirs. After visiting the spectacular garden at Kenroku-en, you'll travel up into the Japanese Alps. This region was a real highlight for me. It's absolutely beautiful and really fascinating to boot. We wander around the fabulously preserved village of Shirakago, with its steeple-sided roofs designed to withstand the monumental snowfalls the region gets in the winter. We visit historic Takayama, and we also spend 2 nights in a ryokan, or traditional Japanese inn here. The inn boasts its own hot springs, everyone wears traditional dress in the hotel, and the food is just sensational. A real highlight. We travelled to Nagano for 2 nights, exploring the formidable 16th century Matsumoto Castle on the way, and visiting that miso house I told you about earlier. Journeying deep into the Japanese Alps, you'll meet the famous Japanese macaques, or snow monkeys, seeing them bathing and playing in the natural hot springs. It's a lovely walk up the forested valley to the hot springs, and the monkeys are just adorable. Everyone loved this day. And finally, we travelled to Tokyo, one of the world's most cutting-edge capital cities. With so much to see here, we spent 3 days in the city. Tokyo is an astonishing mix of ultra-modern and historic, with soaring glass skyscrapers and neon, cheek by jowl with tranquil gardens and ancient temples. We'll stroll around the vibrant Asakura district, explore the oldest temple in Tokyo, and shoot up to the top of the 634-metre high Skytree, the tallest structure in Japan and the tallest tower in the world. The tour ends with a lovely dinner cruise on Tokyo Bay for a farewell dinner, where you can look back on a wonderful adventure with your fellow travellers, who by now are sure to be firm friends. So there we have it. I hope I've given you a flavour of how much fun travelling solo with Wendy Woo Tours is, and I hope I've inspired you to let us take care of your travels very soon. Thank you and goodbye.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined now by 2 of our VIP solo passengers to find out exactly what it's like travelling solo with Wendy Woo Tours. Zoe, great to see you today, and Louise, great to see you too.
You all right?
Hi, yeah.
Thanks for joining us
No
on
problem.
this, our
No
special
problem.
travel show
Yeah.
today. We've heard lots today in today's travel show about travelling solo, but we want to find out what it's really like travelling solo on a Wendy Woo Tours solo tour. Louise, I'm going to start with you. I know you're a big advocate of travelling solo with Wendy Woo Tours. And Wendy Woo Tours have got a great track record of running tours for, coming up to 25 years now. What does that experience and reputation mean to you as a solo traveller?
I think obviously it means anything and everything when you're travelling alone. I think from the point of obviously booking the tour, you know exactly what you've got to do, everything's mapped out, you've got your itinerary, and then obviously everything just comes all together in your pack and you just have to go and get to the airport, and at the other end you're met by someone and the adventure begins. So it's a great way to travel. I mean, it's the best way to travel as well, because you've got that peace of mind that everything is taken care of.
Is that the same? Would you agree with that?
Completely.
Yeah.
I think peace of mind is the key phrase, particularly if it's your first time traveling solo. There's a lot of trepidation, nervousness, and that's perfectly normal. You are going to feel nervous. But if you can eliminate the things that feel overwhelming, like the itinerary, food, destination, all that, if it's taken care of, you get peace of mind, and then you can just relax and enjoy.
So, I mean, just looking at that kind of reputation and kind of profile, is that something that you both sort of consciously looked for?
I think obviously more so than ever before with what's happened with regards to the pandemic and travel. You've got to look at obviously being looked after and experiencing the whole trip without thinking, where am I going? What's it going to be like? What's the transportation going to be like when I get there? So I think you've got to iron out everything that you're taking into consideration. And I don't know if you feel exactly the same, but we are completely looked after from start to finish. Whether that be on arrival, during the day, the whole itinerary and what we've got to do, where we've got to be at certain times. We're at the forefront of everything you do, so that's the reason I travel.
Oh, good. We'll look at this a little bit more in more detail later. But so I'm going to ask you, I mean, why would a solo traveller specifically benefit from travelling with Wendy Woo Tours?
I think my perception of solo travel initially was either schlepping around on a camel in the desert or in a hostel, clutching your backpack, thinking I'm going to be robbed. You know, if you wanted to eliminate all of that and it's your first time solo traveling, it's the perfect hybrid, I would say. So you can go away, peace of mind, you can socialise with people if you want to, you can stay in your room if you want to, all your meals are taken care of. So it's that introductory to solo travel. And once you've done one, I promise you, you'll do more because it's just such a great experience. You can socialise, also you get lots of options that you can dip in and out of, whereas if you were totally on your own, all those things you'd have to think about.
I think there's a lot of things we would potentially miss out on as well if we didn't have an itinerary to follow, especially with the destinations that you go to. Obviously, a lot of it isn't just the key points where you would think about going. We obviously go to places where I wouldn't venture, potentially alone. So you do give us a full insight of the place that we've chosen, and you would see things that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah, so I think it's the first time solo traveller. I would highly recommend it because it makes it so easy, and you can become more adventurous. But you're going to really key destinations: Vietnam, China, Japan, Sri Lanka. I mean, it's not like you're going to Europe, although you could do that if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But you can be adventurous in safety.
Yeah.
Thank you. Interesting you talk about all the destinations because that is key here, that there are so many destinations to choose from. So how important is destination choice and the depth of the itinerary when choosing a solo tour?
It was the key deciding factor for me, and that outweighed the cost. So of course, if you go on an organised tour, it's going to be slightly more expensive than if you were sort of completely doing it alone. But the destination and the really detailed itinerary was an absolute, I'm doing it.
I think when you factor everything in as well, in terms of wherever we come from in the UK, so obviously flight, then transfers, then we get there, the level of hotel that we stay in, the meals that's included, the transportation while we're there, the entry fees into the places that we visit. If you broke that down, then in theory it is worthwhile.
So worthwhile.
I don't think I would be able to put half of that together if you sat on the internet and thought, right, I need a flight, and then need a transfer, and then need accommodation, and then you're fighting against, have I got enough time in this place? Will I miss out on something? It is busy. It's a jam-packed itinerary, but I wouldn't have it any other way really.
No, and I think that sort of meticulous planning takes so much time. Even when you're there and you're traveling, you still have to be forward thinking, right, when am I going to eat, when am I going to turn up, then I have to check into the hotel. Whereas what you're doing is sort of compressing time, aren't you? With
you would waste a lot of time if you try to do it yourself. And there is sometimes wherever we go there could be a language barrier and things like that, which again, what you don't want to do is ruin the experience because you've tried to do it yourself and then you've ended up being a little bit fearful of thinking, right, I shouldn't be here, but I am here. Now how do I get where I need to be? So that's another thing where you don't want your trip ruined because you can't relax and enjoy it.
We heard a lot in the show earlier about Wendy Woo Tours offering fully inclusive tours, which of course includes all the meals and all the dining. Is this really important to you as a solo traveller?
I think I've just obviously touched on that briefly. I think it is so really worthwhile what you put together in terms of obviously like breakfast potentially in the morning if we've got a long day ahead, then we're all together at lunchtime, and then again you've got maybe an afternoon where we're out and about. it's good that we're all together in one place, because I think if you didn't offer maybe a lunch like point or a midnight lunch and we had free time, then if we all didn't gather at the same point at a specific time, we could miss out on the afternoon trip. So therefore, you're not wasting any time. Yeah, you could go off and do something on your own if you didn't want to stay for lunch, but ultimately, you don't want to then think, oh, well, we're going to be late here because we potentially could be waiting for people who have gone off on their own. And it's not to say you can't, but what we get as a package is very well put together.
I dipped in and out of meals, so I didn't take every opportunity. Some day, I was working as well, so some evenings I just went back to my hotel room. I ordered room service. So don't think that just because there's food that you've got to eat. And I think, being in a couple, maybe it's going out for dinner, it's on your own. You've got that option.
Yeah, sometimes you want your own space. Obviously we do travel obviously alone, and there is a time where you want some alone time, but you're more than happy to muck in, and everyone, there's great camaraderie. You find out so much more about everyone, what they do, where they've been. That gives you ideas as well, thinking, oh, well, I've never thought about going there, but obviously I've heard that. So you get as much time together as you do if you want to be by yourself.
Really important. That's a very good point, actually. And I'm going to touch now, something that is always a key talking point, ladies and gentlemen, with the touring experience, is the tour managers. So, I'm going to ask, about your experiences with the tour managers and also the group size as well.
So the first tour I did with Wendy was Vietnam and Cambodia. So because it was split, we had obviously a tour guide in Vietnam and then a tour guide in Cambodia. And then obviously Peru, we had one. They're from the area, it's their country. They're very proud to have you there as a visitor. They want to tell you everything there is to know about their country, food, places to visit, culture. Their knowledge is priceless. So when you're aware, and if anything happened, or if you wanted to just ask them to go off on you by yourself, or we want to go here, they would be fully knowledgeable, and you'd feel fine. The part of the group, aren't they? The part of that little family for your holiday, and they're as part of us as we're a part of them, and for them to see us enjoy ourselves is great, I think. There was probably 13 the first trip I did, then there was 16 on this one, so it was a nice size. It was good. We were like little sheep all huddled together, so it was a lovely little group, on both of them.
Ladies, final piece of advice for ladies and gentlemen watching at home that thinking, this all sounds good, it's okay for them to be able to do this, but I'm just not sure that I really can do it. What would you say? What's your advice to our viewers at home?
I think anything that you try first, you will always have a little bit of fear. I won't even begin to say that you don't, but if you think about it too much, you will probably talk yourself out of it. But with what you guys do, I don't really think there's any reason for anyone to be apprehensive or not try it, because everything's mapped out and tailored for this. There's no reason not to enjoy it, really, is there?
I would say, having been stuck at home for 3 years and the opportunity not to travel, we're now really feeling the desire to go off and do something interesting. And Wendy Woo is that bridge to an interesting, really unique, meticulously planned experience.
Even places you would never think about going. On you guys, on your own, you guys do. And then I think when you read, if it's 2 places or 1 or 3, you probably may not have thought, I would like to go there. But then I think when you read what you offer and where you go and what you do, you think, I never thought about going there, but I will now.
Yeah. And I had no issues with my group.
No.
I had lovely people.
We were great. We really had a good time.
So,
because I've heard also that people, make friends on these.
Oh, you do,
and, friends for life.
Really you do.
People. And also because you're together for quite a concentrated period of time. So again, I wonder if you were completely solo, you just wouldn't have that opportunity. You might meet someone in a restaurant. We were in one of our hotels. There was a girl traveling through, and we met her for an evening, and then she went off. And we were sort of saying, actually, it's really nice that we've had this bonding experience because you're forced to be together and kind of look after each other, eat together. So, yeah.
Because we're all probably at different stages as well in our lives, where some of us will have travelled like extensively over the years, where some of us may not have gone as far as where you guys go. So that experience shared gives a lot of people when they come back, because I think that is when you come back and you get that feeling of back off holiday, right? Now you're in a bit of a lull because you think this time yesterday or this time last week we were doing this. It then gets them cogs turning and think, right, okay, so I've heard about this part of the world, I'm gonna go. And then you just end up getting the bug, don't you? And you just fall back
I have
into
to say, I went up to the north, up to the tea plantations, and the train journey, one of the best experiences of my life. It was beautiful.
Yeah, we did one in Peru where we when they were on a train.
It sounds quite life-changing as well.
Oh, it was, yeah. And I just thought, my gosh, I could die here and I'd be happy, you know.
Because you don't think it exists, do you, until you see it?
Yeah.
You can see pictures, and pictures do tell a story, but being in that picture and being part of it is just something else, really.
Fantastic. Ladies, thank you so much. This has been really insightful. And ladies and gentlemen at home, I'm sure you've enjoyed this in terms of hearing what it is actually like travelling solo. So, as you heard Zoe and Louise today, time is now to do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, fantastic. What a great show we've had today. And I hope you've enjoyed your travels, your solo travels with us, just as much as I have today. It really has been great. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I said at the beginning of today's show, now is the time for our travel lounge. Yes, the travel lounge is going to open, so please do come and join us in the lounge. Now, if you scroll down on your screens, to the bottom of your screen, you'll see the red button. Just click on that red button and you'll be taken directly into the travel lounge. And again, that's where you're going to be able to meet our travel experts, the team at Wendy Woo Tours, who are waiting to answer your questions on anything about today's show, anything on solo traveling, and anything on escorted touring that you want to ask. It's really good opportunity. Plus, of course, you'll meet other solo travelers in there as well. So it's a good opportunity to mix and mingle and enjoy the lounge. I'm going there too, so I'll see you there now. Thank you.
We found Wendy Woo to be spot on from start to finish, with all the actual interactions from the booking to the preparation for the trip to arriving at the airport. It's been painless and faultless. Wendy Woo, they really do look after you.
I've been on other tours before, and yeah, Wendy Woo definitely includes sort of a lot more, it makes it a lot easier.
I liked the idea of what Wendy Woo offered. They have an excellent reputation. So I looked at a number of other tour companies, but Wendy Woo seemed to be the best.
Everything being included is really important. It makes it very, very easy, and you don't have to worry.
I just felt confident that that Wendy would know, the best places to go and the best things to do, and it's proved so far on the trip. It's proved correct.
I've been really impressed with not only right from the start when I rang up to book. The staff in the office were really helpful, just kind of organising things and making sure that we got all the right paperwork in.
Our national escort was Lily. Lily's been fantastic, so full of energy and so helpful. She calls us Lily's family. She's always referring to us as Lily's family, and I think she's really helped us actually bond as a group. which made the whole trip much more enjoyable.
The Great Wall was extraordinary. It genuinely brought tears to my eyes, looking out and seeing, understanding the history, and just seeing how it was built in inhospitable terrain across the mountain ridges. It was awe-inspiring.
Wendy Woo staff, the local guides, our national guide Lily, they've been more than helpful on many occasions, and they have done absolutely everything they can to ensure that we've had the trip of a lifetime.
I hugged a panda, which was an amazing experience and one that I will never forget.
I recommend Wendy Woo Tour to everybody, and tell them that if they want to go to China, nobody better than Wendy Woo Tour.
I will recommend Wendy Woo. It's been a terrific experience with them. I've been very pleased.
Oh, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
I'd recommend it to people that want to go on an adventure and visit somewhere they'd probably only see once, but to see the authenticity rather than just the tourist highlights that you could see internet.
I will certainly recommend Wendy Woo tours when I go back to England. In fact, I'm sure we'll be going on more Wendy Woo tours because we want to go to Vietnam and other places, and I'll see Wendy Woo do those tours, so we'll certainly be booking again with Wendy Woo.